Healthy living is slowly being undercut in the society. Take, for example, the rampant increase of unhealthy eating habits leading to obesity. Obsessions to these trends result to underlying issues, and today we're going to be taking you through how to handle these habits with professionals from different fields aiding this.
My name is Jacob Mukopi Wafula. I'm a Kenya registered nurse as a BSN, graduated from Dedan Kimathi University, Nyeri. Currently I'm a nurse, that's my specialization. Basically a nurse trained in all areas, but currently I'm working with Avenue Healthcare Center, where mainly I'm positioned in the outpatient department and the pediatric unit.
Jacob Mukopi will guide us through the mental issues related to these obsessions.
So you find that eating disorders are related to mental disorders in some aspect. So you may find when someone has depression, like is kind of depressed, sometimes they may go into eating a lot, or maybe they may keep off eating. So in that place we can classify that as it is related to a mental issue. Number two, we also have the outward appearance. There are people who are so concerned about their appearance. For example, you may find that because someone thinks that maybe he or she is overweight, she may enter into the issue of maybe anorexia nervosa, right? They don't eat, right? Someone is so concerned about losing weight, or sometimes also so concerned about adding weight. Why? Because he's receiving pressure from the people outside, or he wants to be like someone. So you may find, or someone also wants to be like a model. So you may find that someone goes into that place of anorexia nervosa, the person is not eating at all, right? Or someone may go into binge eating, or may go into bulimia nervosa, right? And the end of this, you may find that it affects the health of someone in terms of maybe their obesity on the other side, or the person being underweight, right? So when the person is underweight, it has medical implications and health implications. So it is true, the mental state and mental disorders, they contribute so much. And you also have the psychiatric patients. So you may find that these guys also, depending on maybe someone has a mood disorder, or someone also has a psychotic disorder, or schizophrenia. Sometimes due to the medications, you find that what they bring about is the increased appetite. So when this person is not controlled in terms of maybe the eating, or maybe when the ward setup is not controlled in terms of providing these nutrients, you may find that someone may go on one side of it. Maybe someone takes a high diet which has high calories, right? So you may find that if that person is not well controlled, maybe we may go into the issue where we have the sugars are so high, right? And that has implications on the health of someone. So mental disorders, they contribute a lot, especially when we come to anorexia, binge eating, and bulimia nervosa, because we want to appeal to to the picture of the society. So someone is deranged from the normal way of living.
Now from his take, we get to hear from a Kenyatta National Hospital pediatric nurse talking about the eating habits of the little ones.
Good afternoon. My name is Jane Kainyo Munyugi. I am a neonatal practitioner. That means I deal with the newborns. That is the age between 0 to around 30 days, 1 month old. And I love taking care of the babies. It's a passion that I've grown to love so much. Eating disorders, especially with the young children. And when we talk about eating disorders, it's a mental illness. Let's begin there. It's a mental illness that when we talk of the children, it's between the age of 0 to 12 years. That's when we have children. So when we begin with breastfeeding, I think it's a call from the Lord to tell us children should have a balanced diet. So when we give them anything outside their balanced nutrition, then this is a disorder. We are leading them to disorders. And some of the habits that now we have taken up as parents is we don't have timelines. We don't limit them to what they eat. It can either be too much protein, too much calories. So it's the role of the parents, as you've just eroded, that the parents should take up the initiative to train their children to abide to a balanced diet so that we avoid too much or too little of it. I'll still fall back onto that balanced diet is to a child, the stomach is like the brain. It's a blank area that needs to be trained. So just like we train them to read and to adhere to certain schedules of eating, the same way with the children. They should be trained on what to eat, at what time to eat it, what to avoid. And once you keep a schedule of this from the childhood, then you find it even in adulthood or when they go past what we're calling childhood age, then they are able to abide to it. So strict schedules for these young ones to abide to, strict balanced diet to abide to, this will give them a healthy life. Eating disorder may not just lead, but it's a disorder on its own. It's a mental illness on its own. And remember again, we are dealing with children. We are talking about children who may not really have control of what they're doing. Going into depression may not be their choice. Out of choice is maybe because of their peers. They're not fitting in the group. They're not living to the standards, what they think are their standards. So it is our role as parents and as the adults in their life, in their environment, to discover when they're deviating from the normal.
From these views, we go back to Mr. Mukopi, who will dial down to the two major disorders, obesity and bulimia nervosa, that are the two major ones in the society.
So basically obesity, what brings about obesity? For example, mainly when someone is doing maybe binge eating, right? Or bulimia nervosa. Sometimes when you come to binge eating is where someone is taking in a lot. Bulimia nervosa is the place where maybe she's taking a lot but still vomiting it out. That's the issue. So when it comes to binge eating, let's say when we have a high supply of calories, right? The end is that this thing has to be broken down, right? Once it is broken down, it has to be stored as fats in the body. So when it is stored as fats in the body, that is when now you may see that someone's weight, obesity will come in. You understand me? Where now these high calories are being broken down. Once they are broken down, they are stored in the body as extra fats. So you may find that some people, it is around this. So you'll find men usually find them, their fats are around this area, the epigastric area. So you may find that there's that accumulation of fats, and obesity may lead to HTN, hypertension. Why? Because we have those fats now being stored in the blood vessels, the layers of the blood vessels. So once they're in the layers of the blood vessels, see that we are reducing the size of the blood vessel. So once we reduce the size of the blood vessel, then the heart has to pump at a higher level to supply the blood to the extremities, maybe to supply the oxygen and the starches to the glucose to the end of the body for it to be broken down so that every cell in the body may get the energy. So one of the issue of binge eating, it may lead to obesity, as I've explained, and obesity has implications. So one is HTN, number two, it is diabetes. So you may find that it may lead to diabetes in the place where now the cells are insensitive to what? Are insensitive to glucose, where now the absorption of glucose from the body, it is not constant and adequate. So once we have that, and diabetes also can lead to many things. When we have high sugars, they may be a danger to the eyes, cause retinopathy. They may cause the eyes may there may be damage to the eyes. There may also be damage to the kidneys. So when we have damage to the kidneys, we go down into kidney failures and all those things. We can also go down to blindness and all those things, because once it affects the nerves that coordinate the place of vision, then you find that we go into many things. So it is very important to note that obesity can also result into many things. And now that is why we should have controlled diet, right? Where number one, we know what are we supposed to take. Do we have the essence of people being taught what is the diabetic diet, right? Diabetic plate, or maybe the plate that someone should have, where we have a certain portion for vegetables, vitamins, right? A certain portion for the proteins, a certain portion for the carbohydrates, right? So that we control the uptake of all these things. Sawa. So that is the issue with obesity.
Remarkable remarks indeed. Now we will be hearing from a professional athlete on how he handles his balance to avoid such obsessions and also his take on exercises.
My name is Litina Brian Tasur. I'm a student and also I play basketball professionally. Basketball is a game that I started in high school when I was in Form 1. Since it's a game that is not well developed in the country, as such, is a game that is tending to grow now in the country, but back then it wasn't really well developed in the country because of facilities and everything. But it's a game that I've come truly to love and to embrace it. I truly came to learn the game and really love the game in out, understanding all the different aspects of the game, and really, above all, enjoying the game and understanding the work is needed to be done to develop your skill, to develop your talent, to reach at that high level, and of which the high level in this case is playing for the 3-on-3 Kenya national team.
On to our agenda.
Honestly, it does, because what you eat outside the court will transcend to your performance in the court. So it's really very important to make sure that you eat healthy foods, you eat and you drink a lot of water as much as you're eating healthy, because it's also a game that needs you to be hydrated each and every time. And I would really advise players out there, whichever game you're playing, especially at a professional level, it is very important to ensure that you keep healthy and eat healthy, because it will transcend to what you'll be able to do at the court or whichever game you're playing at the pitch.
From diet, now we touch on the exercises and how to balance it on an athlete's perspective.
Honestly, I've come to learn that for you to play basketball, especially at a high level, you really need to be buffed up and big, because it's a game that requires a lot of switches. You'll switch from a center to a power forward to a guard, and not every time you'll be playing ISO game one-on-one with a guard. So it's a game that really requires for you to be really well buffed up and strong, and not necessarily huge to a weightlifting level, but huge in an aspect that, one, you can be able to still move fast, and two, you can still be able to control your body and balance, because it's also a game that requires jumping up and down all over the place, running full court, half court. So as much as I want to say it requires with the position you're playing, but still I want to insist that you need to be big, a bit big physically, so that you can be able to finish through contact, protect your ball well, and some moves require that level of physicality and that level of hugeness as you play the game.
From all these professionals touching from a child's perspective to an adult's perspective, we get to gather a lot of information on healthy living. With this at hand, let's head to the streets to hear the points of view from the community.
My name is Ian Dego. I'm in Riara University studying multimedia journalism. Yeah, I try my best to stay fit. Walking, running.
Do you eat junk foods?
Yeah, occasionally.
Does it affect your health?
Not really. I can't
name is Amal Latif. I am in the School of Journalism and Communication in Riara University. Love junk food, especially fries. That is my favorite. So when I'm in school, I always eat fries, and yeah, I always indulge in junk food when I'm in school. But at home, that's when I try to eat healthy, because at home we eat healthy. So it's like a perfect balance.
Do you exercise?
No.
Okay, my name is Jennifer Ogutu. I'm stationed at Avenue Parklands. Yeah.
How does your diet look like?
My diet on a daily basis, I make sure I take a lot of water, mostly not less than 2 liters, and I take veggies. Make sure my diet includes proteins, a lot of proteins. Yeah, that's what I do.